Hey everybody, it's Alex at Motoroso.com, and in this video we're taking a close-up look at the AWE SwitchPath Catback Exhaust for the 2021 and up third generation F-150 Raptor with that 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, and we are excited about this. We've been waiting for this exhaust for the Gen 3 Raptor for quite some time, and here it is. Now we're also going to be taking detailed before and after sound recordings so that you know what this exhaust sounds like in every single one of the sound modes. And we're also going to do a step-by-step how-to installation guide, but that's going to be in a separate video. We'll put a link to that in the description of this video, alongside the links for the two versions of this exhaust system. I'll also put a link to the black tips version of this exhaust right here. All those links are going to take you over to Motoroso.com, which is our website where you can shop with us. Making these videos is time intensive and expensive, and we hope you find them helpful. And the best way to reward us for doing that is to buy from us. So please do consider shopping with us. We'd love to earn you as a customer so we can keep making videos like this and keep this business going. Now look, I love AWE exhausts, and we have made a lot of different videos for their exhaust systems for different applications. And in a lot of those videos, I say why. Originally, back when the Generation 2 Raptor first came out with that 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, when it replaced that 5.2-liter in the Raptor, people were pretty bummed that they had a turbo, forced induction engine now. And the bottom line is that the engine performs great, but it never sounded good until AWE tuning came along. They really put themselves on the map by doing the testing, iteration, and development to make an exhaust that really made that 3.5-liter Raptor sound excellent. And people were thrilled, and that put them on the map. They've since gone on to make exhausts for all kinds of different applications, but especially they nail it every single time in those forced induction engines. That really matters because so many people are making forced induction engines now, and they seem to be able to nail it every single time. So we are expecting exactly the same for this new Generation 3 3.5-liter EcoBoost. And there's some other new things to work around, and I'll talk about the technical specifics of how they need to manage the ECU and the information going in the ECU to make sure you don't get any check engine lights, and also be able to continue using those sound modes that come in your Generation 3 Raptor. Of course, we are going to go through those sound recordings, but before we do, why don't we quickly go through some of the technical details and specifications of this exhaust. Now, first of all, AWE Tuning is an American company that designs and manufactures these exhausts from the ground up here in the great United States of America. We love that. Super high quality materials, creating American jobs and keeping our money here in this country. We really, really appreciate that about this company. The entire system is made from CNC mandrel bent T304 stainless steel. That is a tough material that will not break down, will not corrode, will not rust or anything like that. It's going to probably outlive your Raptor, frankly. And the wall thickness on this tubing is 0.065 inches. So that is heavy duty material. It's also going to stand up to any punishment if you're really using your Raptor out there off-road. It is a dual 3-inch system from the cat back, meaning it doesn't affect your catalytic converter in any way, and that makes it a 50-state legal exhaust. So for anybody that's living here in the nanny state of California, our blue-haired liberal regulators are not going to be worried about it. You can have this exhaust in any state in America. And it is a plug-and-play exhaust. That means you don't have to do any sort of cutting or fabrication of any sort. You're going to unbolt your stock exhaust system, set it to the side, throw it in a dumpster, do whatever you want with it, and then simply bolt this one right up, and it's going to plug and play, including their Tier 1 valve, which is going to make sure that that plugs into the ECU, allowing you to keep using all those different modes. And that's what makes it the SwitchPath, which gives it the different volume levels. And this is how they're able to give you that fitment guarantee to make sure that it fits perfectly every time, as well as their no check engine light guarantee, so you don't get any annoying pop-ups or limp modes or service warnings from the computer. So the first pipe that's going to come off of this system comes off directly after the catalytic converter, and it goes into this AWE tuned X pipe. Now, this is specifically designed to help eliminate the raspiness that you can get out of these forced induction engine, and it can get very bad. A lot of other brands get this terribly wrong, and you end up with a really raspy sounding Raptor. And instead of sounding like a truck, it sounds like a 2001 Honda Civic with a coffee can bolted on the back. That is absolutely not what any of us are going for. And the way that works is that the two pipes are then merged, and a hole, the correct size that has been perfectly tuned to make sure that the sounds exchange and balance out in there. This starts to get into the engineering of the sound that I don't fully understand. There are X pipes, there are H pipes, they all sound differently, but an X pipe is the right application for this forced induction Raptor. From that X pipe, the exhaust gases are going to go into their AWE SwitchPath muffler. Now this muffler, of course, like all mufflers, is mostly designed to control the volume level of the exhaust. And one of the ways that it does that is it routes exhaust gases two different ways. That's the SwitchPath component, and that's controlled by the valve. We'll talk about that a little later. Now, what I'd like to say about the volume of these exhausts, you're going to have a quiet mode, and you're going to have your all the way up to loud mode. It's called Baja in the Raptor. Now, in this case, and in all cases with AWE, and I don't mean to gush about it, they always get this right for my tastes personally. And look, I'm an adult. I don't like to bother or irritate my neighbors or be the loudest vehicle on the block. I like a loud exhaust. I want to hear it when I step on it, but I don't want to be obnoxious. And they just managed to get this right. In other words, I like to refer to this as an adult exhaust system. Nobody wants, at least nobody that can probably afford a Gen 3 Raptor or this exhaust system, wants to just have a screamer, and they nail it every time. And that's mostly due to the way that this SwitchPath muffler is working. The best way I like to describe the way AWE exhausts sound, volume-wise, is tasteful. And again, the SwitchPath allowing you to control the sound of that is take it from tastefully loud and fun on down from there if you need to be quiet, especially at startup. From the muffler, this system then splits off into two separate 3-inch pipes all the way back to the tips with a few components. Now, one side is going to feature their Tier 1 supplier grade valve. Now, this valve is exactly what it sounds like. It's got a little flap in there that's opening and closing depending on either what button mode you've chosen in your Raptor, all the way from quiet on up to the Baja loud mode. It's going to be opening and closing that valve in response. Now, in addition, your stock system, this is going to function exactly the same way. If you step on it, even if you're in quiet mode, you give it 100% throttle, the computer is going to say, get that exhaust valve open. It's going to tell this to open that exhaust valve. It's going to function exactly the way that it does in your OEM system. It's just going to benefit from the enhanced sound tuning that AWE has done with this. Now, on the other side, it's going to then feature this incredibly beautiful CNC machined valve simulator bracket, as well as this valve simulator. Now, what this does is essentially on the other valve, it plugs into the computer, kind of tricking the ECU, making it think that there are the two valves, even though this valve is essentially doing nothing. That's just a simulator. This valve is doing all the work designed to work with this AWE system. And all that is wired up and connected through their OEM grade Tier 1 supplier valve extension harnesses, and we'll show you how to use those in the installation guide video. Then from the muffler, the two separate 3-inch pipe sections have a nice long run to rip those exhaust gases all the way along until almost the very, very end, where they have a resonator. Now, this is a small, modest resonator, but very important to make sure that they tune out that little bit of last unwanted raspiness and give the exhaust a little bit deeper tone. A very important component to fine-tune that exact sound that they were going for on this AWE. And then mounted to the end of each of those pipes are either going to be chrome tips or their diamond black tips, the most popular style. And these are a double-walled 5-inch AWE logo emblazoned tip. They make the best tips in the industry, in my opinion. These things are absolutely beautiful, and they really finish off the exhaust system. And the color of those tips is really the two things that differentiate the two different part numbers that this system is available in. And links to both of those will be in the description of the video, as I mentioned, and I'll put a link to the black tip version right here. And again, those links will take you over to Motoroso.com, where you can shop with us. And if you found this video helpful, we hope you will. We'd love to earn your business. And the main reason you're gonna do that is because of these great exhaust sound recordings that we're gonna take right now. So we're gonna go get this thing installed, then we're gonna go out and do sound recordings. That installation guide video will also be linked in the description, but I'll just shut up now. Let's get on with hearing how this thing sounds. All right, now before we show you every single sound mode that we recorded, I just want to make a quick note. There are 4 different modes of the sound, but there's also power modes in here. And so all this affects the way that this exhaust system is going to sound. Now, what we kind of feel like we noticed, we just drove it in regular basic mode with the exhaust modes going through quiet, normal, sport, and Baja. It kind of seemed like in some situations, there was really only 2 settings for that valve. It performed very, very similarly. But in other situations, it seemed like there was a really clear differentiation between the quiet all the way up to the Baja and 4 different levels. So we did our best to really capture as much of this as we can. And there's a lot of sound recordings. This video is not going to be terribly short. There's going to be a lot to review here, but we did all of that to make sure you get the maximum understanding of what you can expect when you get this AWE exhaust on there. Again, hope you find this helpful. Now we'll show you those sound recordings. I told you that was a lot of different sound recordings, but we wanted to make sure that you had all the different scenarios available to you so you know exactly what to expect with this exhaust. Now, here's my reactions, all right? First of all, the quiet mode, shockingly quiet. I mean, it really is. If you want it in quiet mode and you just want to cruise down the highway, almost imperceptible difference from stock, right? But then you throw it over into those loud modes, and what you get is a nice, louder than stock exhaust for sure, but not obnoxiously loud. It's not going to blow everyone out around you, and it doesn't sound raspy at all, and they've managed to add nice, deep tones. So I really love the sound of the thing. All this is very subjective, but here's the way I describe it. This is a tasteful sounding exhaust system that is much louder than stock, but not so loud that it's really annoying and irritating to everybody around you. That's as simple as I can say. So what that means, AWE went ahead and did it again, okay? They made their name for themselves with this Gen 2 exhaust, with the Gen 2 Raptors. They really put themselves on the map, and they've been killing it with their systems ever since then. And they went ahead and put the time and effort into developing this right for the Gen 3 Raptor. Here it is, and it sounds spectacular. I think you're really gonna like it. Now, just a quick note about power gains, okay? So I didn't even mention it in my product spotlight because they're never big. On these new forced induction engines, a lot of these modern things, you're not gonna get major power gains from an exhaust system. They do say that you're gonna get 2 horsepower and 6 pound-feet of torque. Okay, whatever. That's barely gonna be perceivable. You wouldn't think that's gonna be very perceivable, right? And it's not gonna make any tangible difference really to the driving experience. But I gotta tell you, something changed here. And it's probably because it is flowing exhaust gases better and it's helping the motor rev more quickly. It was very noticeable. It really feels like it woke the motor up and made it more peppy and responsive. So it may not have given us much more power or torque, but it feels better. So that was more notable on this than other trucks I've done this on. I recently did a Tundra exhaust. I've done the Bronco, the Tacoma. Really noticed it on this truck. And so I think that's very much worth noting that it is going to tangibly change your driving experience. At least I felt like I felt that. So just wanted to pass that along to you guys. Again, if you'd like to buy this exhaust system, we're going to put a link to that right here. And that's going to take you over to Motoroso.com where you can shop with us, and we really hope you will.